Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Allegra and this is Brandon, and you found us on Milk, Eggs, and a Whole Lot of Tea. And we have the honor of my girl, my friend, Chaz. And welcome to Milk, Eggs, and a Whole Lot of Tea, Chaz.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you, Allegra and Brandon.
Oh
Of
no,
course. We're
thank
so glad to have you.
absolutely. So we have a packed podcast today because we have the one and only Chaz from the Life I Love School. So we're just going to start off. So Chaz, starting a nonprofit, it's a huge leap. And often there's a defining moment that pushes someone to take that step. Was there a totally unexpected moment that changed the direction of your life and led you to create Life I Love School?
Mm.
Ooh, just hopping right on in. I love
Yeah.
it. Let's get to it. So, I wouldn't say a totally unexpected moment. I feel like it was unexpected in the sense of timing. And so,
Mm,
just some context, I was building my organization on the side of me having full-time jobs
mhm,
because I always knew that as an employee of any corporation, I was disposable. And so
mhm,
I always had it in my plans to have my own company. My timeline was, like 5 years, but it came in 2 years when I was laid off. So the layoff was unexpected. However, like I said, in the back of my mind, I always knew that I was going to have my own company. What it
mhm,
was. And so on a personal level, I've always been really passionate about girls' development, specifically Black and Brown girls. And so the on a personal level, the unexpected moment that happened that pushed me to build Life I Love School was when my 8-year-old daughter started her period. And I just was like, what the heck? Why is she 8 years old starting her period?
Yes.
And so with my interest in girl development and specifically Black and Brown girls and wanting to create spaces for them, that moment, her being so young, I'm like, oh yeah, let me start something specifically for this target audience.
mhm.
Yeah. That's great. And just to follow up on that, so your daughter you said is 12, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So what is that? I'm not good at math. 4 years you've been
Yep.
pretty much doing this? That's
Mhm.
awesome. That's awesome. Um,
Mm,
because and basically what you're saying, you kind of saw this, you saw a need, and you just kind of ran with it. So we know
mhm,
that every founder's journey is filled with twists and challenges, and also those big wins that we can celebrate too with our friends and family and so on. So question for you: if your experience could be summed up in one dramatic movie title, what would it be?
Ease is for suckers. And the reason
Ooh, okay.
and the reason why I say that is because I'm a believer. Like first and
Hmm.
foremost, God has been in my corner forever. And I
snaps,
truly
snaps,
I truly believe, and the reason why I specifically work with Black and Brown girls and their mental well-being and really wanting them to have expanded access to mindfulness practices is because they're going to have challenges no matter what, right? Like everybody's going to have challenges, but disproportionately, our Black and Brown girls have challenges. With
mhm,
that, though, we can go so much further because, like I said,
mhm,
ease is for suckers. When we go through challenges, we actually grow substantially, and God is going to give us the tools and the challenges. He's going to put us in those
mhm,
situations where we're going to be able to grow and develop with the right support. If we
Yeah.
don't have those supports, if we don't have access to mindfulness practices or a support team or a community, it can really bring us down and keep us down. But
absolutely.
if we have the tools, if our girls have the tools to go through these stressful situations that are inevitable,
Mhm,
and then really be able to cultivate their stories and grow, they're going to be able to go so
mhm,
much further. So, ease is for suckers. We don't want it to be easy. We want to recognize that there's going to be challenges, but let's use
mhm,
these challenges to our advantage. And so,
mhm,
Mm.
yes, if I had a movie, it will be called Ease is for Suckers.
mm.
Ah,
I love it.
oh, that's
And that's
amazing.
right. And that's
Hmm.
right. It's like we are going to have a challenges. If we can learn how to manage challenges as young kids, just things we
Mm-hmm.
get into the world and of adulthood, hey, you can't tell us nothing. I like that. I love it. I love that. So, Chaz, but let's go back to when you starting and running this organization. It's no small feat, and like you said, God is in your corner. And
Mm.
let's be real. Sometimes you got to fake it till you make it, and you have to figure things out as you go. So, has there ever been a time you had to fake it until you make it until the moment, let's say, let me rephrase my question. Have you ever had to fake it until you make it moments while running Life I Love School?
Not my running Life I Love School.
Mhm.
Mm.
I created Life I Love School for that reason. I feel like ever since, I'm half black, half Asian, but people see me as black. And so they treat me as a black girl and a black woman. And
Mhm.
so ever since I was a kid, I've been in performative mode. When
Mm.
when we worked together, Allegra, I
Mhm.
was in performative mode, and
Yep.
that is exhausting. And so the reason why I created Life I Love School is to not have to be in the fake it till you make it performative
Mhm.
tap dancing mode. And it has been the biggest relief of my life to
Mm.
not have to fake it till I make it. Now, when we're asking funders for money, we might have to reposition, really think about the funder, who we're talking to. But I don't feel like I have to fake it. I'm really staying
Mm.
grounded in our mission. And so, yeah, no, I haven't. Not in this
Yeah.
role.
I agree. We're always in that performative mode, and now you can just be free and just be. We don't have to do that or add that onto us. I like that.
Hmm. Because you have purpose now. You have,
Mhm.
it's your purpose. It's something that
Mhm.
you enjoy doing and wanting to bring to life. And Chaz, you just said, driving that mission home. So, really, a follow up is what's the driving mission behind Life I Love School, and what impact do you hope to continue to make on these young women?
Whew. So, just additional context. So, I've been working with children my whole life. Like, when I was a kid myself, I was working at the pool and working,
Mhm.
with young kids there. I was a rec leader. And then after college, I became a teacher and I taught in Deep East Oakland for 5 years. And I always had this passion for child development. And
Mm.
during my teaching experience, I really fell in love with girls specifically. Like, I saw how they were quietly suffering. And,
Mhm.
like up close and personal, hearing their stories, I knew they needed a more specific, differentiated approach versus just a general one for boys and girls.
Mhm.
Um, and so, me being a mom as well, having two Black daughters,
Mhm.
like that right there is what keeps me going. Like the fact that I'm, working in this girl development space and I have two daughters, it's
Mhm.
just like, it makes
Mhm.
this work even more important. And so, I always bring it back to this one student that I worked with. This one student, her parents were immigrants from Mexico, and her mom was killed when she was a baby.
Mm.
Mm.
And she had a lot of mental health challenges.
Mm.
And as teachers, I don't know if y'all know all the context, but like Abbott Elementary probably could shine
Mhm.
some light on that. But teachers, they talk. You're like, oh, that you getting that student, that's your roster, oh my goodness. And I
Yeah.
always made it a point as a teacher not to listen to that and to really,
Mm.
if anything, go the opposite way. Like if a teacher is saying like, oh, that student right there, then I made it a point to give them extra love. And so this one
Mhm.
student, she had that reputation like, ooh, she's a handful, you better, and so I made it a point to really get to know her early on. And she just stays, like, she's what keeps me going, because the impact that I was able to have on her, like her family really said to me, like they appreciated me so much that it was meetings that I had with her older sister and her dad, where they were just crying because they were just so grateful that
Mm.
somebody was able to finally see the light in her versus the
Mhm.
negatives. And
Mhm.
if we can create those communities of belonging for our girls where we could see the light and then help them build off of that light instead of from a deficit, we're going to be able to change communities.
Mm.
So that is the driving force behind it. It's just my close connection with the Black and brown population, me having Black daughters, me being, identify
Mhm.
here, and then that student, when I really zoom in, like really thinking about that student and the impact that I was able to have on that one student. So yeah.
Mhm. I love
I
hearing those
love
like, real impact stories. That's
it.
what's up.
Really, yeah, because I mean, it's something that literally touched you so much that you've now
Mhm.
created a company based on, or a nonprofit company based off of
Mhm.
this, and that's awesome. And really,
Mhm.
like, it sounds, just from what you're telling us and everything and reading about everything about you, you're really, what you're doing is very personal, and it comes from a
Mhm.
lot of personal levels, and it often mirrors a lot of your own story. Do you
Mhm.
see pieces, like what you just said, the little kid that, you shed light on her? Is that kind of, do you see pieces of your own journey reflected in the girls that you serve? Or was there an aha moment that someone gave to you as you were a little girl, that really inspired you to do what you do?
100,000%.
Mm.
Mm.
And so, as mentioned earlier, 4 years ago, my daughter started her period.
Mhm.
And I started my company then. It was called The Box Care. And it was all about
Mm.
menstruation support for young menstruators.
Mm.
And it was an LLC. And I did, I was able to make, I think, $7,000, like from grants and from subscription boxes.
Yeah.
Because the Box Care was a subscription box company, and then we created a pilot program, and we worked with fifth grade and sixth graders in Oakland. From that moment, I knew that I was like, this is too niche. Like, our
Mm.
girls need much more than just period care,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I closed the Box Care down, and I started, just talking to people in education, talking to people that I respected a lot. And I realized that the LLC was cool because, I have freedom, have flexibility. I always told myself I wasn't going to build a nonprofit because of all the red tape and bureaucracy there.
Mhm.
Mm.
But I realized that if I was really going to do the work and target Black and brown girls who's going to need additional funding from the government, like all these grants and
Yeah.
all of that, that I had to form a nonprofit, and I needed people to hold me accountable. I needed to have a team, a board. And so I'm bringing it home, Brandon. Be patient with me. I'm going to answer your
Yeah.
question.
Well, I'm enjoying listening to you, so keep
Okay.
talking.
Okay. And so, so at this point, I was in education nonprofit for about a decade. And so I've met
Mm.
so many people, so many women, that we just had so many overlaps. And I
Mm.
remember being in the sauna because I love going to the sauna. I love meditating and practicing deep breathing there. And I remember being in the sauna and meditating on what was next after the Box Care. And I
Mm.
took out my notes and I wrote out my dream team, like my board.
Mm.
And I wrote out 5 women's names. I reached out to them, and they immediately all enthusiastically was like, heck yes. And so, not Brandon, not only do I have real connections to this work, but the board that's helping me bring this mission to life, this vision to
Mm.
life, they have real connections with being oppressed in these systems, not feeling like they
Mhm.
belong, being discriminated against,
Mm.
seeing the other person who's so mediocre getting that promotion instead of them. Like everybody that's touching this work has a close tie
Mm.
and personal lived experience to this mission of what we're trying to combat.
Mm.
Which drives or gives it so much more purpose too, because
Mhm.
you all went through it, and now you're just trying to literally change it and provide resources and tools to people to, oh, just giving me goosies right now. Oh, it's just so awesome. That's
And
incredible.
I would like to say we're still going through it. Like everybody
Yeah.
who serves on my board is still working in corporate, and they still have to navigate a lot of the complexities and still have to find ways to prioritize their well-being. So we're still going through it. So yeah.
Girl.
And that was going to be my oh, sorry, go ahead, Brandon.
No, go ahead.
That was my question because I was on your website, Soap, and I was like, damn, it has to be intentional and powerful to have a board that's women and
Mm,
POCs. And
mm,
I'm sure they each bring their own unique perspective to the table.
Mm-hmm.
mhm.
So I definitely commend you for that, of finding people that represent the community that you will be serving and
Yeah,
having a board that's all women.
yeah. Girl,
Mm.
that's powerful. Come
And
on.
majority women of color.
Yes,
Mm.
yes. Okay.
Man, I
Mm.
wish we had a leader right now that was a woman
Oh, Lord Jesus.
of color.
Help us. Help us.
Brandon,
Shit,
don't do that.
Let me drink my
girl.
water. Because,
Oh, Lord have mercy. You got me heated over here. Goosebumps.
and they talking about DEIs.
And
Like,
then,
Oh my!
oh,
Hold on. Something that made me laugh so hard yesterday. Have y'all started watching the Love Is Blind season?
I have not. I
uh-uh.
have not.
Oh my gosh. No. My best friend, I can't watch it. My best friend was like, somebody posted, did they take the DEI out of Love Is Blind? If y'all see it,
Is it? No.
it is the most unsalted, I don't even know.
Oh,
Girl.
Lord.
Unseasoned, maybe unsalted was the wrong thing. Unseasoned.
No. What city were they in?
I don't even know. I didn't even
Oh,
get that
Lord.
far. I couldn't even make it that far to see where they was at.
You just saw all the white and you said, no, ma'am.
The
No,
season.
It
ma'am.
was the most bland.
No
All them
flavoring.
saltine crackers right there. Just,
Nothing to look at.
nothing to, no.
And that's what we need to have be intentional and just throw up some diverse perspective.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so let's switch gears a little bit to our to mental health. So, Chaz, when it comes to mental health, it comes in a variety of forms, but yours takes a very, very unique approach, and we've seen that just hearing from you speaking, doing a little bit of research, all that good stuff. So, what makes Life I Love Wellness program different from traditional mental health programs?
Really good question. And it's good because that's something that we've been the last 2 years, me and my board, we've been meeting consistently monthly and really trying to identify and answer this question of how we can differentiate ourselves, and not only that, but what do our girls specifically need. And so something else about me and my board is we all have had those experiences, right? And we've also been in close proximity to Black and brown girls in the school system.
Mhm.
And with that, we've seen, all of these social emotional learning programs come in, and, which are great. And they're really focused on the whole child because they realize that if the students aren't ready to learn, then they're not going to be able to access, the reading lesson or the math lesson. And so when I was a teacher, I was introduced to mindfulness. Mindfulness breathing saved me. I was a single mom at the time. I was stressed out personally. My students, they were going through things that I've never experienced, such as being unhoused, having to worry about if they're going to eat dinner, and then they came to class and we were expecting them to focus on their learning. And so this whole child approach has been something that's going on in the schools, which is great. And when I was introduced to mindfulness, I gravitated towards it, and I implemented mindfulness 3 times a day in my class. We were able to see the highest test results in my students. However, it wasn't mindfulness wasn't being implemented by all teachers because not all teachers gravitated towards that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And
Yeah.
why does that have to be the responsibility of the teacher? You know, like the teacher already has a lot on their plate. And so with that, we realized one, mindfulness practices really do help. They have a
Yeah.
lot of research behind it, you know,
Mhm.
but a lot of these companies are being ran by who?
Mm.
Who are these
Yeah.
companies being ran by? By white women,
Mhm.
Yep.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
so, what makes us different is that we are expanding access to mindfulness practices through a community based approach. So,
Mm-hmm.
our mission is twofold. One, to expand mindfulness practices to Black and Brown girls. And
Mm.
two, to create a pipeline of community based wellness practitioners that's going to come and lead the healing spaces, these circles, and take that weight off of teachers having to be expected to do everything because teachers
Mhm.
can't do everything. And that's the
Mm-hmm.
reason why teacher turnover is so high. But anyway, so we differentiate ourselves because we envision that one girl that I was talking about. Wouldn't it
Mm-hmm.
have been so powerful if I took her under my wing, trained her up on these mindfulness practices, and then gave her a job in the community where she was
Yeah.
able to lead these healing circles,
Mm-hmm.
go to be a school leader, and she's
Yeah.
the one on her school. She's the wellness advocate at her school site, leading mindfulness breathing techniques. Like,
Mm-hmm.
can y'all see that? Can't y'all see
Mm.
that? And
Yeah.
so that's what sets us apart is that we are really thinking systematically about supporting communities versus a band-aid solution. Like, here's the mindfulness. Go
Yeah.
ahead and do that.
Yeah. You're giving them
Yeah.
techniques. Yeah.
Techniques and the people. We're
Yeah.
uplifting communities by teaching them
Mhm.
the techniques and training them to be wellness practitioners in their communities.
I like that.
That's so powerful because I love the approach that you're taking and,
Mm-hmm.
wanting to turn around and give it to the community, but it's so important to it's exactly what you're doing. You're teaching them first because they have to be able to do this internally, be strong with it to then turn around and then give it back to the community. And it's so important because we miss kids and we're like, they're just kids. They'll grow up and they'll learn.
Mm-hmm.
Kids are watching from the moment they pop out of that womb. They're watching everything. They need to be
Mm-hmm.
trained. We need to teach them how to do bills. We need to teach them how to be mindful, how to care for one another.
Mm-hmm.
It's those basic principles that we think everybody grows up with,
Yeah.
but they don't. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just everything you're doing, Chaz, you and your board and your folks. It's incredible because you're
Mm-hmm.
breathing life back into these kids that they're not seeing it, in their
Yeah.
personal lives and things like that, where they can then maybe as a 12-year-old or as an 8-year-old go back and teach mom, hey mom, you're stressing out a little bit. Let's breathe, girl.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. You
Mm-hmm.
know? And it's a ripple effect is what you're
Sure is.
doing. And it's just
Mm,
incredible. It's
it
awesome.
is. I also
Thank
like
you.
how. Oh, go
Hmm.
ahead, Janice. I'm sorry.
I just said thank you.
But I wanted to talk a little bit about your program that's built on 5 key areas: movement, nature, art, belonging, and service. And each of these plays a role in mental health and well-being. So can you share how they help the girls you work with?
Yep. And it's to Brandon's point of being able to reinforce it at home, teach their
Mm-hmm.
families. And so we have been iterating a lot. So in the fall of 2024, I was able to do a pilot program with 31 fourth and fifth graders in Deep East Oakland. And
That's
the
great.
the feedback
Mm-hmm.
was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's an 8-week wellness program based in those 5 tenets, those 5 pillars. And we teach students how to identify their fears, their core fears,
Mm-hmm.
what stresses them out. Like similar to cognitive behavioral therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then we teach them a stress management skill on how to respond when they are feeling these things. And like I
Mm-hmm.
said in the beginning, we tell them life is not easy. Like,
Right.
you're going to have challenges. These are
Mhm.
tools to help you respond to those challenges
Mhm.
in a healthy way. And we even go as deep as I've experienced alcoholism. My dad, he didn't know how to respond to challenges. He used alcohol. Is that a healthy
Mhm.
is that a healthy response? So we talk about that stuff. And then within our sessions, girls are able to build something to reinforce a tool. And
Mm.
so movement, nature, art, service, and belonging are ways that girls are ways to respond to stress in a healthy way. And these are
Yeah.
research backed ways. And so, for instance, on our art lesson, we talked about a stress factor. We talked about something that's challenging, something that it does to our body. So, like the science behind it. And then students were able to engage in repetitive stroking of a canvas and acrylic paint on, just
Mm.
painting. And we taught them, like, these repetitive strokes really help you settle your thoughts. It helps you calm down and helps you be able to more healthily respond to stress instead
Mhm.
of yelling, or instead of like doing something that's unhealthy, like maybe going to drugs or
Mhm.
alcohol, or not even addressing it. And so those pillars are for the I'm rambling because there's so much more to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
No, no.
But that's the fourth and fifth grade wellness program, those pillars.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, those are the things that we can
Mm.
do to help them. And now they can bring that canvas home, and it's a reminder for them to say, like, hey, this is what I can do when I'm stressed out. And
Mm.
hey, mom, dad, uncle, grandma, these are things that y'all can do too. Instead of reaching for that bottle of alcohol, instead of
Mhm.
yelling at us and redirecting your anger to us. So, yeah.
That's what's up.
Mm. Mm.
Like that. So
I do.
I'm not sure if we touched on this, but I want to talk about like I understand with Life I Love School and introducing this to the community, but also I think you have to have that community support, which is also like highly important. And real change happens like when young people feel empowered to go to the programs, but show up to the programs and be present in the programs and take ownership of the 5 pillars that you were talking about. So, how do you ensure these girls in your program feel that sense of ownership over their mental health?
Mm.
Yeah. And so, as mentioned, the program, the 8-week wellness program, we have those lessons, those healing spaces, and then it culminates in a showcase, a community showcase.
Oh, cool.
And the girls, they invite their teachers, their families, community members to come, and they have their own booths, and they teach them ways that they respond to their stress.
Mm.
And the girls, so like I mentioned, we piloted the first program last fall, and the girls were so nervous.
Mm.
But it was a growing opportunity. Remember, like
Yeah.
I said, ease is for suckers. Like the fact
Yeah.
that they were
Yeah.
uncomfortable, the fact that they were experiencing discomfort and they still did it,
And they still
that
showed
right,
up.
yeah, that
Oh,
showed them that they can do
yes.
hard things. And
Yes.
so and the feedback from the community, like, once again, parents got emotional. Like, I saw my girl grow so much.
Mm.
And so this showcase really is a way for them to feel empowered to teach the community how
Mhm.
to respond to their stress in a healthy way.
Mm.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And really, on that note, like when you're first kind of getting into communities, how do you, and talking to schools and talking to parents, how do you build that trust and buy-in from your teachers, your parents, your students? And then
Mhm.
what kind of obstacles have you faced and how have you worked through that to make this a successful program?
Brandon, why are you asking this big question right now?
I'm sorry.
So on the surface, it's an easy sell. Like, if I'm talking from a business point, it's an easy sell because people know the need. They see
Yeah.
all the things that our girls are going through. They see the challenges. They see the disproportionate rise in suicide rates for Black and brown girls
Mm.
specifically.
Mm-hmm.
And they see it, so it's an easy sell.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Now, especially in this political climate and with things being rolled back, things are like really on edge. So the funding has been one of the challenges. But however, even with that, we were able to, like, that pilot was paid for. And then we're working with another school, and DP's open right now. And then we have a few contracts, 4 additional contracts in the queue. And so people are finding the money and the resources
Yes.
for it. It's just taking a long time. So the biggest challenge has been the timing and like the pace, but they see the need. And
Mm.
the way that the girls have been responding, like, for instance, the last pilot that we had, they were begging for another session. Like, they did not want it to end. And so that community, they wanted to extend their partnership. And so we're going to have another renewal for the fall. So, yeah.
What's
That's
up?
amazing.
Yeah.
And so kind of a caveat. I know you're doing 8-week programs. However, for example, it would be an 8-week program with one of you guys and then Allegra, and then you would do an 8-week program with one of you guys and myself. And then it basically is like a one-on-one approach, or are you doing, hey, there's 4 kids here. We're going to approach them together in a group like setting and do it that way.
So let me back up. So, as mentioned, the first part of our mission is to expand the wellness practice, the mindfulness practices, for this community. The second part is to build that pipeline of wellness practitioners,
Mm.
community-based wellness practitioners. And so the program that I'm talking about, Brandon and Allegra, that lives within our 12-year program. And so our 12-year program, and this is not on the website yet, this is something, like I mentioned, we've been iterating on. And so the 12-year program starts, we start that pipeline with early intervention in 4th and 5th grade. So that wellness program that we've been piloting, that's how we're getting the participants in that pipeline.
Mhm.
From there, we're going to identify enthusiastic, high potential girls, to then we're going to track them to middle school. The middle school program,
Oh.
we're going to start really teaching them that brain science, that cognitive behavior therapy stuff, that mindfulness practices. They're going to be able to get certifications. Their parents can get certifications to really create that pipeline of wellness practitioners. Then when they get to high school, we're going to follow them there. And they're going to not only be leaders in their community and give back as wellness practitioners, but they're also going to have opportunity to explore pathways within the mental health field with different community partners. And then after high school, we're going to try to help them pursue a career in the wellness field, whether that's a nutritionist or a psychiatrist,
Yeah.
whether it's a yoga instructor, a boxing coach, so that is our big vision, is to track them. And we're in very early stages, and we just started the first program, our first phase within the 12-year program.
Mm.
Yeah.
I imagine that's what success looks like when you build that. It's like, this will be success for a girl to follow that.
Yes. Yep.
Oh,
And we're in
that's
really, really early stages. And I
Yeah.
forgot your initial question. I hope I answered it.
Oh,
I think you did. Girl,
yeah.
I think you did. Yeah. I was everything you would.
I was like, this is deep. I love it.
I know, me
Yeah.
too. Because I mean, we got questions that we have written out for you, but then some of them I'm like, "Ooh, shit, that's a really good one we didn't think of," and you just answer it like it's great.
Mm. Well, Chaz, you accomplish so much, and you're going to accomplish so much moving forward. What's next for Life I Love School? I know we talked about it a little bit, but if you have to dream big, what will be your dream big for Life I Love School?
So much. And so our vision is for Black and brown women to embody holistic wellness. And so that's my big vision, that, I was just, and I know we're ending, and I know I'm long winded, but
No,
let's
you're
just hear
good,
me out.
girl.
I just had lunch yesterday with one of my friends, and she told me that her dad passed away about a month ago, and she's pregnant, and that she passed out on the airplane because she had to go to work. I'm just, first off, you didn't even tell me that your dad passed. Like, this is your first time telling me that. She's telling me with a straight face.
Mm.
And it's just like, why, as Black women, we got to keep on pushing through? Like, why can't we get time and the space to process? And so that is my dream, is for us as a community to really have the tools to just focus and centralize our well-being.
Oh, I love that.
I love that. And you make a good point. Why do we have to keep pushing through?
We're human at the end of the day, no matter what color your skin is, what sex you are, you're a being.
You can be tired and you can sit down.
Yes, and you deserve a
relax your feet.
break.
Because
Yes.
we ain't here to save the world. We can watch it burn and call it a day. I'm gonna enjoy my matcha tea. I am going to enjoy watching Love Is Blind. Y'all go out and have fun. We can sit down. We have every right to take that cape off.
Yeah.
We don't have to be strong.
And to that point, though, back to the metaphor about the stress and like the ease and all of that.
Yeah.
We, like, ease is for suckers. And so when we have that time to really work through our challenges, we're going to go further. We're not going to be held back. And so, yes, go through these challenges, embrace them, but process them, take the learnings, and then spiral ahead. Springboard ahead. So, yeah.
Period.
Yes.
So, Chaz, my one last thing. For anyone inspired by your mission today, how can they get involved, support your work, whether through partnerships, donations, or advocacy? Tell our audience what they can do.
Yeah, please don't go to my website because it is under construction. We have iterated so much, but email me at chaz@lifeiloveschool.org and let's talk. I really love talking to people, so let's talk.
And we'll drop your email in our comments below. We'll promote that and everything for you. And y'all, get involved. Reach out to Chaz. And you know, Chaz, if they can't, for some reason, can't get involved in you, do you have the kind of resources to gear them on other directions as well in the mental health journey?
Not at the moment.
Not at the moment. That's okay. It's coming soon. It's coming soon. And maybe a viewer out there who's listening might be able to help you with that.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
Absolutely. We need more support. And I think your organization is like the key to support our young Black and brown girls. Just imagine what the adults they can be. Unstoppable.
A Beyonce top 17.
Beyonce up there. Up there. Well, thank you, Chaz. Yes, we appreciate you for joining us for tea on Milk, Eggs, and a Whole Lot of Tea.
Yes, and we'll see you guys next time. All right. Bye, Chaz.
Bye. Peace.